Hello, everybody. Adam Savage, and I am talking to you from my cave in San Francisco, where it is currently early December, and the days keep getting shorter and shorter. And I got to tell you, it's bumming me out. I don't like these short days, man. December 22nd, one of my favorite days of the year, because after that, all gets longer. June 22nd, not happy about June 22nd. That's where it starts to get shorter. I'm just saying this because I looked up at the skylight and it's dimming and, I'll be going home in the dark. I don't like doing. But what am I doing here? Why are you watching me? It is because I am taking questions from tested patrons, specifically about MythBusters, and answering them in this format. And so the question today comes from Mike R. Mike R. wants to know, what was the biggest "I did not see that result coming" moment over the years? Thanks for writing a sentence that was difficult to say. Mike R. wants to know, what was the "I didn't see"? Oh, yeah. The most surprising result, I think Jamie would have the same answer. Golf ball car. The most surprising result. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The myth was, actually, before I even tell you the myth, I have to tell you some prehistory. A golf ball has, is it 488 dimples? It might be some number of, a golf ball has dimples. And if you fired a golf ball without dimples, it would not go nearly as far as a golf ball with dimples. Why? Because each little dimple creates a little air current eddy. And together, the combination of all of those create a kind of I'm going to say oily, but what I mean is slippery air around the golf ball. So a non-dimpled golf ball is itself flying through the air, and the air is resisting against the outer surface of that ball. But a dimpled golf ball is actually, you have to consider it is coated with sort of an almost sticky air. And the air against air means it slipstreams much faster. Don't take my word for it. It's just a simple fact that undimpled golf balls go farther because of their aerodynamics. And I submit, I might be getting their aerodynamics slightly wrong, but the fact remains. And so the myth was that if you covered a car in golf ball-like detents, it would also increase its fuel efficiency. Because I can't remember if this figure is true. It's one I read when I was a kid. But above 20, 25 miles an hour, a car is expending like 70% of its energy just pushing through the air. So aerodynamics is where a huge amount of fuel savings should come from. And the myth is that golf ball detents is one of the ways you could do it. And there were even companies selling vinyl wraps that had detents in them and saying this was making your car more fuel efficient. So Jamie and I, it turned out that one of the gentlemen who managed the beautiful wind tunnels at NASA Ames Center, where we filmed many, many times, and specifically their water tunnel, which was so great for beautiful footage, was also a high-level amateur golfer whose particular bailiwick was golf ball detents and their aerodynamics. So he was delighted to work with us. I'm so sorry I don't remember his name at this moment. And we ended up covering a car in golf ball detents. We got the automotive department at the Academy of Art College, where they were making clay cars all day long as part of their education. And we got them to come to MythBusters. We coated an entire car in clay, in like an inch thick of clay. And then we carved, I think, 1,500 detents on the outside of that car. The other thing you should know about this story is calculating precise fuel usage of an engine is a really, really difficult task, and one that kicked our butt almost every time we had to do it. When you want to know a really exact number, how much fuel did you use for this run? Flow meters are really difficult. Extrapolating the math from the engine diagnostics is really difficult. And by the time we did this story, Golf Ball Car, Jamie and I redounded to a simple fuel cell where we had a primed fuel pump going to an engine that ran, and that pump got exactly 1 gallon of gas. And then we drove that car on a 1 mile course at 30 miles an hour. And at the end of that course, we measured how much gas was left. That was, and I still feel like this, it's one of the most precise, just lock it in methodologies for obtaining a a precise number for how much fuel was used. And we did that a couple times. And then we got a number. And that was the number to beat. Oh, also, knowing that the weight of the clay was going to be a factor, we actually took all the clay we were going to cover right, so we did a control with a non-clay covered car. We put all that clay in the trunk, I think. Or we didn't carve the detents and we ran at any rate, the car weighed the same for all the tests. I can't remember the exact specifics of whether we put the clay in the trunk or we just covered it, ran it, then carved the detents. Could have been one or the other. Both are reasonable. But we carved the detents in the car, we ran it on its course, and then in the episode, you see Jamie and I open the trunk, pull out the fuel cell, and we look, and hell's bells, Margaret, it's 14% more fuel in the fuel cell than there was for the previous control test. 14%. You should know that your mood on any given day can affect your fuel efficiency plus or minus 10%. Easy. Your mood is the greatest factor for the fuel efficiency you get. I'm here to tell you, it's you. So 14% from covering this car with detents was an impossible result. Unbelievable. But we really walked through the whole methodology, and Jamie and I still stand by that result. And we didn't shoot any coverage. We didn't shoot. Normally when you do something like that, you open the trunk. You then, once you've gotten the sequence, you film all that in one take. And then you go in and you button in. And at that point, I think Saza or Benny was our cameraman. They would go in and get shots of the trunk opening, get shots of the paper, and all of those little things that tell the story. We were like, we are never going to have more energy than at this moment in which we're like, holy hell, I cannot believe this worked. Oh my God, both of us laughing, astonished, astounded, amazed that we got this incredible result. That was by far one of the most surprising and wonderful days. And I love that shot in the episode. Coda. 6 months after that episode aired, Jamie and I got an email from one of the big three automakers. And they have lots of clay cars in the auto industry because that's one of the ways in which they make car prototypes out of clay. And they had taken one of their clay cars out of storage and carved a whole bunch of detents in it and did a wind tunnel test. And they were writing to us to tell us that they think our results were wrong, which is fine. They were using a totally different car. They were doing it with a much more SUV minivan type of car. And we were using like a suppository sedan, like a mid-90s Tercel or something like that. I say suppository because there's this whole, all those cars in the late 90s and early aughts all had like all soft edges. No, blah. Don't like those cars. At any rate, this automaker was using a totally different kind of car for their test. So I submit that I don't accept that we got our methodology wrong. But my favorite part about that is that one of these multi-billion-dollar corporations went through the effort and took the time to look at our episode and then say, we should try that ourselves. Like, we caused that to happen. We wasted their time. I love that. We wasted their time. I mean, these are engineers. They want to know the answers to questions. They saw something they were surprised by and they thought they tested themselves. That is a completely rational response to something that is surprising. I just loved that it happened to us. Yeah, without a doubt, that was my favorite, surprise moment. Yeah, that is a terrific question, Mike. And that's it. That's my MythBusters question today. Thank you guys so much, tested patrons. I love your questions. And I will continue to keep answering them in this forum. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Or see you next time. That's how I usually say it.